Press and hold the center power button to power on the bike. Hold down the plus and minus buttons simultaneously to reach the settings menu. Scroll down and press the center button to select the battery lock page, and then press it once again to unlock and eject the battery. Place your hand below the battery to support it. Once the top end of the battery is disengaged, press the handle to release the battery and lift it out of the bike. Remove the wire loom from the handlebar controls. With the bike inverted, disconnect the headlight cable. Use a 4mm hex wrench to loosen the stem cap preload bolt and then loosen both of the stem clamping bolts until the stem can be released. Remove the stem. Follow up by removing the headset dust cover and the compression ring. Lift the fork and front wheel up and out of the frame. Use a 5mm hex wrench to loosen and remove the kickstand mounting bolts. Remove the kickstand. Cut the zip tie securing the motor cable to the frame. Unthread the lock rings and disconnect the motor cable connection by pulling the two motor connection plugs apart. Use a 19mm socket to remove the axle nut and washer. Repeat these steps on the non-drive side. Tilt the derailleur back and lift the rear wheel up and out of the dropouts of the frame. Note the position of the torque washers. On the drive side of the bike, use a 2.5mm hex wrench to loosen the mounting bolt for the single cable retainer and remove it. Pull out the cable and carefully disconnect the right side taillight connection. Use a flathead screwdriver to press in the tabs and remove the taillight. On the non-drive side, use a 3mm hex wrench to remove the 3 bolts that mount the wheel lock assembly into the inner chainstay of the frame. Lift out the wheel lock mechanism and guide the cable out of the frame. Carefully disconnect the taillight connection. Use a flathead screwdriver to press in the tabs and remove the taillight. Use a 3mm hex wrench to remove the 2 bolts that mount the terminal assembly to the frame. Use a 3mm hex wrench to remove the 2 bolts that mount the battery lock assembly to the frame. Use a 2.5mm hex wrench to remove the 3 bolts that attach the cable cover plate within the battery compartment. Remove the cover plate. Use a 2.5mm hex wrench to remove the 2 bolts that secure the controller assembly to the frame. Lift the controller cover plate and disconnect the plug in the 3rd position on the controller. Remove the harness. Swap the light harness. Connect the new harness to the controller by aligning the arrows and firmly pressing the connection together. Locate the 2 taillight connection ends of the new harness. Feed the male end back toward the drive side of the bike. Reconnect the taillight by aligning the arrows and firmly pressing the connection together. Guide the cable back into the frame and reattach the cable retainer using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Feed the female end toward the non-drive side of the bike. Reconnect the taillight by aligning the arrows and firmly pressing the connection together. Replace the cable into the tabs of the wheel lock assembly. Use a 3mm hex wrench to reinstall the 3 E-lock mounting bolts to secure the assembly to the bike frame. Ensure all bolts are threaded in before final tightening. Lift the derailleur back, guide the rear wheel back into the frame, and ensure the axle fits fully into the dropouts of the frame. The motor cable should be aligned with the opening of the dropout. The non-drive side torque washer should be installed on the outside, facing toward the wheel with the tab in the opening of the dropout. Reinstall the axle nut after each torque washer using a 19mm socket. Torque the rear axle nuts to 40 to 50 Nm. The drive side torque washer will sit on the inside of the dropout. Reinstall the kickstand and 2 original bolts using a 5mm hex wrench. Torque the bolts to 9 to 12 Nm. Reconnect the motor cable connection by aligning the arrows on the plugs and firmly pressing the connection together. Fully thread the lock rings together until snug. Replace the zip tie to attach the cable to the frame. Trim the excess zip tie. Back at the controller, feed the headlight harness end back into the frame through the battery compartment and out of the head tube. Guide the controller and cover assembly back into the frame of the bike. Reinstall the 2 controller cover plate bolts using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Organize the cables, align the cable cover plate to the mounting holes in the battery compartment, and reinstall the 3 mounting bolts with a 2.5mm hex wrench. Position the battery lock assembly in place and reinstall the 2 mounting bolts using a 3mm hex wrench. Guide the terminal back into the frame and reinstall the mounting bolts using a 3mm hex wrench. Guide the headlight cable through the dust cover and cable spacer. Reinstall the fork into the head tube, ensuring the lower headset bearing is still in place. Replace the compression ring with the opening containing the cables toward the front of the bike, as shown. Install the dust cover onto the head tube. While keeping the cables oriented forward, press the dust cover flush against the head tube of the bike. Guide the headset spacers along the stem, back onto the steer tube, and use a 4mm hex wrench to thread on the stem compression bolt. Continue to tighten the bolt until the stem is fully seated. Ensure the headset is properly preloaded while ensuring there is still good movement in the steering. Reconnect the headlight to the harness by aligning the arrows and firmly pressing together. With the bike upright, replace the cable wire loom on both sides of the handlebar controls. Align the handlebars with the front wheel and then use a 4mm hex wrench to tighten the stem clamping bolts and alternate between the two while torquing them to 6 Nm. Reinstall the battery by inserting the bottom first and pressing the top to lock it in place. Press and hold the center power button to power on the bike. Hold down the plus button to turn on the lights and press the left and right arrows to test for proper function.